Hi everyone, welcome to this special saxophone class. Most saxophone players spend hours running scale and exercise. But here's the truth. Without articulation, those scales will always sound mechanical. Articulation is what transforms a simple exercise into music. So, what is articulation? It's the way we start, connect, and release each note. If you think about language, articulation is like punctuation. Without punctuation, everything runs together and is hard to understand. But when we add commas, exclamation marks, and the pause, suddenly our words have meaning, flow, and expression. That's exactly what articulation does in the saxophone. Now, why is this important? Because articulation shapes your phrasing, adds groove, and gives your sound clarity. It's also style specific. For example, jazz, funk, samba, pop, or classical all use articulation differently. Without it, your playing will always feel flat. With it, your sound will come alive. Sometimes students say, but I already tongue my notes. Isn't that enough? The answer is no. Tonguing is only one kind of articulation. There are many ways to shape notes, and mastering them gives you control and expression. Other thing, this sounds too technical, but articulation isn't complicated. You can practice it in a simple way with scale and triads, and it will directly improve not just your technique, but also your improvisation. So here's what we are going to do in this class. I will guide you through 4 essential articulation patterns, all legato, smooth and connected, all staccato, short and detached, 2 legato and 2 staccato for contrast and groove, 2 by 2 legato pairs for flow and control. And here is how we will work. First, I will explain what the articulation is and show how to identify each on the worksheet. So you have a lot to learn on this video. So stay until the end. Then I will give you a short example so you can hear. After that, we will apply it to a scale. And finally, we will practice it with triads of each degree of the scale. This way, you are not just training articulation, you are also developing the muscle memory of harmony, which is very important for improvisations. And it's the foundation because most of the time we are improvising, it's about muscle memory. Trust our finger can do it by themselves, you know. So by the end of this class, you will have a simple daily routine you can use at home that connects techniques, articulation, and improvisation. And also you master these 4 patterns, they will show up naturally in your warm-up, your solos, and your songs. So let's get started with the first articulation, legato, smooth and connected playing. So legato is a Italian word that means connected, legato. So what is legato in music? A smooth, connected note played without interruption of airflow. For example, we have a lot of notes in a worksheet, but you can use your tongue just in the first note. Attack the tongue here But the other notes, you don't have to use your tongue. For example, on piano, you play C, D, E, F, G, you can change, okay? But you don't need air. For saxophone, woodwind instrument, you have to maintain the flux of air, but moving just your finger, trying to maintain the control of the sound, the intensity of the sound. But maybe you have, for example, a legato articulation, but even changing the intensity of the sound, it's possible. But mainly, legato mean you have to hold there without using your tongue. Let me show you on the worksheet how can you identify the symbol on a worksheet of legato. So I'm writing here, and I'm going to show you, for example, C, D, E, F. Okay, let's try it. When we are playing legato, look here, you will find something like that on the worksheet. And the legato, we are adding this kind of symbol. Can you see under the note? We have this curved slur line over notes in the worksheet. So this curved slur line representing the legato. When you see it on the worksheet, it means that you don't have to use your tongue separating the notes. You have to play ligature. So why it's important? Why it's important in music? To build in phrases is important. To build in phrases for your expressions, it's very important. If you see in the other examples that we have, staccato is like almost the opposite of legato. You can see different kind of articulation. So legato is very important to maintain something smooth. For example, you can use it in lyrical playing. For example, on counterpoint, when have someone singing and you hold, you can do the counterpoint like hold for notes, long notes, and the connected notes connected when should be different notes but connected, because when we are playing staccato, when we use our tongue, have a different structure, is a bit of stronger. But when you are holding the air without separate the notes, it's more soft. Okay, so it's very useful in this context: ballad, classical repertoire, smooth jazz. It's very important to use legato. And that's it. I'm going to play. You can see now. I can put here in the screen. You can see the scale with the symbol of the legato. You can see I'm going to play C, the scale of C major. All the example here, I'm going to play C major. I'm going to play C major with legato. C low to C high, and then C high going to C low. Okay, so going up and down, playing legato, just to see for you check it. Okay. As you can see on the worksheet, I played legato C until C, and then C high until C lower. I played legato, so in two groups of legato, as you can see in the worksheet. So now we can play the triads. You can see on the worksheet the triads of each degree. So in another video, if you don't know what's it, in another video I explain what mean triads. For example, C to D, it's a second. So C to E is a third. So triad is mainly three notes organized in third. So that, for example, the first degree is C, E, G. So I create here, I'm offering you exercise to practice articulation and also at the same time triads. So the triads are mainly the charge of each degree. So practicing it, you can practice articulation, you can practice muscle memory, playing the triads, and you can also uh, practice scales and your perception, musical perception, because everything you practice is for your mechanical skills and also perception. And in the future, you can see practicing, especially triads. You can see when you start to improvise, you can see that it will be very helpful for you. Trust me, your body can automatically play when listen some song. You know, it's very helpful for you. You know, like dancing, sometimes you are dancing but you don't understand why your body is moving, you know. And then the music is the same. You can, when you are deep there practicing every day, you see that your instrument, your finger can go automatically. So it's very important to spend time practicing scale and articulation. So that's next exercise, playing triad, is so important. So just follow that step, okay? Let's play the triads with all the songs legato of all groups of triads of each degree. So it was the exercise of triads. I'm going to propose you this kind of the same exercise, I mean melodically, but with different articulations. So that was the first part explaining you what means legato. Now we are going to practice the same melodical exercise but changing the articulation. The second articulation is staccato. Staccato means when you detached notice. For example, is almost the opposite of legato. Legato, you saw, is like a connected note without use the tongue. Now you have to use the tongue, but more than use the tongue on each note. You have to uh, play each note like an accent, a bit of accent, you know, on each note. So you have to show the audition that the notes are in uh, evidence, you know, like a kind of bright. You have to give a kind of bright for each note. Uh, the symbol, the symbol on staccato is a kind of dot, a dot on the each note. Let me show you here on the same example before, but changing the uh, the symbol. Can you see here a dot under a dot under each note? Can you see a dot? Legato here, up, and here the dot under each note. That's the symbol of the staccato. When you see it on the worksheet, it's because it's asking you to play staccato. Or if you are writing and showing someone to play a song. So why it's important to practice staccato? To build precision and control. You have to be precise, because when you are playing staccato, for example, when we are playing everything legato, you are just controlling, maintain your air and here digitation. But when you are playing staccato, you have to use your tongue also. So you are using more our body, okay? And help with rhythm. Help with rhythm. You can see in another example, you have sometime legato and also staccato in other notes. So mixing different articulation. So it can help a lot. So put it on your direct practice, legato and also staccato. It is very useful in fast passages, in classical etudes, funky rhythm. Funky rhythm use a lot of staccato, and any style needing clarity and bounce. So it's very important to practice staccato because of it. And for sure, embouchure, you are developing all kinds of exercise. Even playing music, develop your set list, you are practicing embouchure. Embouchure is including all kinds of exercise. We're always practicing our embouchure. So let's now play the example here of the scale, the same one in staccato. Let's play the scale in staccato. It's staccato, very different, almost the opposite of legato. Now let's play the triads of each degree, everything in staccato. So it is the triads of the each degree of the C major scale played in staccato, each note in staccato. Now let's go to the part 3. Part 3, we are going to mix, as I told before, it's very important, 2 legato and 2 staccato. Okay, so it's a we are going to play a pattern to practice this exercise. First 2 slurred and last 2 staccato. Okay, first 2 slurred or legato, and the last 2 staccato. So think about each 4 notes, the first 2 legato and the last 2 staccato. The symbol is mixed. You already know it's legato and then staccato. You see the first 2 legato and the first 2 staccato. As you can see here, when I practice the scale and the triads. Why is important to practice it? To develop flexibility and tone control. So when you are practicing it, uh, you are developing even more your muscle memory, your control of the tongue. So your brain is ready. You can is ready to perform more complex articulation. So you can see that it will be very helpful for you, and also you can practice scales with a variation. So if you practice scale legato and then staccato and then mix, it's another way for you to enjoy the process of play scales, especially in the beginning scale, because we have a lot of scale, not just C major. You can see the Greek modes in another video explain it. Also, transposing the modes. You have a lot of practice about it. So scales and triad articulation is very important, especially in the first years. So let's follow it. Now, let me show you another benefit. So you can train you to switch quickly between smooth and separated notes. Is another benefit you can get on practicing it, and create rhythm variety. Yes, because you can create rhythmic variety. For example, funky jazz, a lot of jazz style will use a lot of variation, a lot of ligature and staccato. So it's very useful on jazz solo, funky riffs, da 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 da. You know, so it's very important. So let's do it. You can see here the worksheet on the screen of the that propose. First two legato and the last two staccato. You saw legato, staccato. Just say sorry if I'm not being clear here because I live in a flat at the moment, and sometimes I have to play very low, so sometimes not clear enough. But I'm trying my best to show you how to do it. Okay. Let's now go ahead with the triads. Triads. So we can play the triads here. The same triads before, but with the articulation. Two legato and two staccato. So practicing it is you can enjoy more, you can have more fun than play just legato or just staccato, you know. So it's a variety. It's important to play all the kind of articulation, legato, staccato, and the mixing. Okay. So now let's go to the part 4. Part 4 is we are going to play 2 in 2 legato. So that last one was the first group legato and the other group staccato. Now we are going to play 2 legato and 2 legato. You will see that it's not we have to use our tongue, but to just each 2 notes. Da 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 da. You know, for each 2 notes, it's very useful also to build your airflow. It's very good for phrasing in lyrical and classical styles. So very useful to train balance on tongue and air. And that's it. You can use it. I personally use a lot 2 and 2. Jazz styles, for example, bebop, a lot of jazz style, fast jazz styles use this kind of articulation. Okay, so let's play it. You see here the symbol here, true legato, true legato, true legato, true legato, true legato of the scale, and then the triads. Interesting, no? Da, 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 da. It's fun, very interesting. Looks like kind of you know, like a horsey running. Da, 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 da. It's fun. Now let's play the triads of each degree of the C major. So that's it. Now I show you the meaning of articulation, why is it important, and I show you also different ways to practice articulation. So you can play it on different scales, you know. So it's just a seed of how you can practice by yourself, and a seed developing a lot on your muscle memory, embouchure, your musical perception, everything. Okay, so I hope this video can help you. If you have some question, don't forget to write down and share the video with someone you think want to learn saxophone. Even if you don't have saxophone now, you can just watch the channel, go through around the videos and get involved, you know. Uh, so you can get the saxophone knowing already a bit about the universe of the practice, you know, because listen is something when you start playing you already know is another mentality. Okay, so thanks very much, see you in another video.